I'm not poly, but like even just when everybody heard that like me and my husband had threesomes before, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, she's willing to do that to keep a man. I'm like,
Nah.
that was all me.
Yeah.
That was all me. Like,
yeah.
but I hate the idea of people thinking like it's always a guy that wants this, that. So she introduced you to the poly life. It's like reintroducing that, you know what I'm saying, to my husband, and it's just like, yo, this is what
Teyana Taylor just went through one of the most painful experiences a person could imagine. It wasn't just that her ex, Iman Shumpert, betrayed her, it was who he betrayed her with that made the whole situation even worse. It wasn't a stranger, a groupie, or someone from the club. It was someone from her own family, her own cousin. That kind of betrayal cuts much deeper than anything else. It wasn't just cheating. It was a violation of everything she trusted, everything she thought she knew. When Teyana walked into that room and saw what was really happening, it felt like her whole life flipped upside down. People who are close to her said it wasn't just suspicion she saw it with her own eyes. And once she saw it, there was no way to unsee it. The moment it happened, she let out a scream so loud the neighbors heard it from outside. She fell to the floor, crying uncontrollably. Her hands were shaking, her body weak from the emotional blow. It was like her entire world collapsed in that single moment. This wasn't just a scandal for the blogs. It was something personal and devastating. For weeks, maybe even longer, Teyana had been feeling that something wasn't right. There were little signs she noticed, things that didn't make sense, but she tried to ignore them. She saw the way Iman and her cousin acted around each other. They laughed a little too much when they thought she wasn't watching. They exchanged glances like they shared some private joke. Sometimes they would whisper and then go quiet when she walked in. At first, she tried to push those thoughts away. She told herself that they were family. Of course they would be close. That's normal, right? But the feeling in her chest wouldn't go away. It kept growing, no matter how hard she tried to convince herself otherwise. Iman became distant. He stopped answering her questions. He brushed her off like she was overthinking things. And her cousin, someone who had always been sweet and open, started acting nervous and quiet. She stopped looking Teyana in the eyes. She barely spoke at all. Teyana felt like something was being hidden from her, something big. Eventually, she had to know for sure. One night, she made a decision. She didn't tell anyone where she was going. She just grabbed her keys and went. She pulled up quietly, used her own key, and walked in as silently as possible. Her heart was racing. She hoped she was wrong. She wanted to be wrong. Maybe they were just hanging out. Maybe it wasn't anything. But the second she got closer to the bedroom, she knew. She could feel it. She opened the door slowly, and what she saw hit her like a punch to the gut. Iman was in bed, half naked, and lying right next to him was her cousin. Her cousin wasn't fully dressed either. The room smelled like cheap perfume and sweat. Clothes were scattered across the floor. It looked like a scene straight out of a bad movie, except it was her real life. The moment her cousin saw her, she jumped up and started rambling, trying to explain, saying it wasn't what it looked like. But it was exactly what it looked like. Iman didn't even try to defend himself. He just stood there, caught, like he didn't know what to do. Teyana's voice cracked as she shouted through her tears. With her, she cried. Her whole body gave out, and she dropped to the floor sobbing. The betrayal hit her like a wave that wouldn't stop crashing. She couldn't stop crying. The image of them in bed, the smell in the air, her cousin's guilty face, it was all stuck in her head. Her cousin kept talking, trying to explain, but Teyana wasn't listening. There was nothing left to say. That moment didn't just destroy a relationship. It tore apart an entire family. She didn't stay long. She left that house without another word. She blocked both of them from everything: phone, Instagram, texts. Her cousin was kicked out of the house that same night. No conversation, no second chances. Iman kept trying to reach out. He called, sent messages, even voice notes begging to talk. But Teyana ignored every single one. Her friends said she lost it. She started smashing Iman's stuff, pictures, clothes, anything she could find. She locked herself in her room for hours, crying, refusing to speak to anyone. She even sent her daughter to stay with a family friend, not wanting her to see her in that broken state. Her team only put out a vague statement, saying there was a family emergency. Nothing else. Meanwhile, Iman went completely silent online. No tweets, No posts, nothing. That silence said everything. He knew he was guilty, and he knew there was no coming back from what he had done. The fallout was immediate. Things got worse fast. Teyana's mother, a woman known for being calm and strong, confronted Iman in private. Without a word, she slapped him across the face. It wasn't just anger, it was heartbreak. She had loved Iman like her own son. To see him betray her daughter and destroy their family, she couldn't hold it in. And then she turned to her niece, the cousin who betrayed her own blood, and told her something no one in the family would ever forget. "You're dead to us." That moment changed everything. The family was split. People started choosing sides. Relatives unfollowed Iman and the cousin on social media. No explanations needed. Everyone knew what that meant. Some tried to make peace. The cousin's mother begged the family to forgive her daughter, but it was no use. The damage was too deep. There were no more family dinners, no more laughter. The warmth that used to fill the room turned cold. Even the kids noticed something was wrong. They started asking questions. Why don't we see them anymore? Why isn't everyone coming over like before? Parents didn't know what to say. They tried to keep things simple, but the tension was everywhere. The betrayal between the adults had affected everyone, even the little ones who didn't understand all the details. And outside the family, the world was watching too. As soon as the story got out, social media exploded. People were shocked, disgusted, and heartbroken for Teyana. On Twitter, thousands of people were posting things like, "Your own cousin? That's unforgivable." Fans rushed to support Teyana while others couldn't believe Iman would do something so low. It became one of the most talked about stories online. But for Teyana, it wasn't about the headlines. It was about losing people she thought she could trust. It was about the pain of being betrayed by not just a partner, but a family member. And no amount of public support could make that kind of hurt go away overnight. Her silence said more than words ever could. And as far as anyone knows, that silence continues. One person online said what so many others were thinking. Fans were heartbroken, angry, and protective all at once. While some people were shocked by the news, others admitted they'd sensed something was wrong for a while. But no matter how long the signs were there, everyone seemed to agree on one thing. They stood by Teyana Taylor. Her silence wasn't seen as her being weak. In fact, it was the opposite. By not speaking out or attacking anyone online, she showed how strong she really is. She let the truth speak for itself. She didn't need to post a long explanation. She didn't need to blast anyone. The facts alone were enough. Meanwhile, both Iman and her cousin faced intense criticism online. People started digging through old videos, photos, and interviews, trying to figure out when things started going wrong. They searched for moments they might have missed, awkward looks, strange body language, anything. Comment sections across social media quickly filled with love for Teyana and anger toward the people who hurt her. Fans shared old clips of her looking sad or distracted, and now they believed those moments showed how long she'd been hurting in silence. Even other celebrities took notice. Quietly, behind the scenes, stars like Keke Palmer and Taraji P. Henson reportedly reached out to offer their support. They didn't post anything flashy or public. They just wanted her to know they were there, and that private support spoke volumes. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram Live, and YouTube became flooded with emotional videos and timelines breaking down the betrayal. People weren't just reacting, they were deeply invested. Many fans talked about how family betrayal cuts in ways that feel almost impossible to describe. Teyana's calmness through it all impressed them even more. As the story spread, the love and protection around Teyana grew stronger. People started praising how she held her head high without lashing out. They respected how she refused to engage with the people who wronged her. Instead of fueling more drama, she stayed focused on herself and her healing. Her decision to walk away from the noise was seen as mature and empowering. Brands even began showing her more support. Where others might lose deals during a scandal, her grace made her even more appealing. Now she wasn't just known as a talented performer, she was becoming a symbol of strength and resilience. Those close to her say she's focusing on her daughter now. She's putting all her energy into protecting her peace. There are whispers she might leave the city to start fresh somewhere new, away from the pain and reminders of what happened. And if she does, it won't be running away, it'll be reclaiming her life on her own terms. As for Iman, things aren't looking good. His silence hasn't helped. If anything, it's made things worse. People think he's just waiting for things to blow over. But this isn't the kind of story people forget easily. The damage is done, and no apology will undo the hurt. Teyana, on the other hand, is showing what it means to heal with dignity. She's not posting long rants or going back and forth with anyone. She's choosing peace. She's choosing herself. And in doing that, she's winning. Her fans are watching her, not out of pity, but with admiration. They want to see her rise. They believe she will. What happens next is up to her, and the world is ready to cheer her on. Because when betrayal comes from the people closest to you, it breaks something deep inside. But the way Teyana is handling it quietly, powerfully, is proof that she's not just surviving. She's becoming stronger.